What's going on, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over the best player from every country. I'll be going through countries like the US, the UK, and countries from smaller regions like Japan or Australia. If you guys enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like, and the last thing I have to yap about before I start is that I set a goal for hitting 100 supporters on my code, dollafn, and you guys immediately hit 200, so I just wanted to say thank you guys. It resets at the end of February, so if you're watching this a day late, I would appreciate if you put it in, and if not, no worries. This list is opinion-based, so if you don't agree with me, let me know who you would have picked in the comments below. Without further ado, let's get into the first country. The first country that I'm going to be talking about is none other than the United States. The US is one of the most stacked countries since the majority of the people that play on NA Central, the second best region, are from there. While there are plenty of new talents like Peterbot, who just came second in the recent FNCS Grand Finals, or legacy players like Mero, who've won 6 FNCS, including the recent Global Championship win, I'm gonna have to give the best NA player to Bugha. Nobody compares legacy-wise. Ever since winning the World Cup in 2019, he's been a top player on the region. He has 3 FNCS wins along with 3 thirds and 2 seconds, including the most recent FNCS last weekend. He might not be currently the very best player on the region, but he's one of the best, and he's been dominating for almost 5 years. Mexico is the next country, and it's one of the other 2 large countries on the NA Central region. Although there are many new up-and-coming comp players to choose from, I'm going to have to give the crown to the ex-NA West fragger, Snacky. Snacky won 3 Grand Finals on West, including back-to-back in duos, with 5 other top 3s. More recently, he qualified for the last 2 Grands on Central, placing 27th and 41st, and despite a few other Mexican players with similar Central placements, Snacky's sustained levels of competitive play, along with his over $150,000 online earned, give him the edge and make him Mexico's best. Canada is the last country for NA Central, and one of the best countries in the world, boasting a wide roster of top-tier players like Yamzo, Aviv, and Scented. But the country's best player right now is Acorn. Acorn just put on a dominant performance to win the most recent Central Grand Final with Cold and guaranteed a spot to the Global LAN event at the end of the year. One of the only players in the world to do so. Not to mention, he won 2 other Grand Finals and has placed top 10 in numerous more. With almost 500,000 earned and as the reigning FNCS champion, Acorn sits on top of Canada. Moving over to EU, the best English player is without a doubt Veno. Veno exploded into popularity back in 2021 after coming second in the Solo Invitational. From there, he's been one of the best on Europe. He won an FNCS with Queasy and Aqua in duos, and then pulled off the single greatest Grand Finals performance of all time in Chapter 4, winning 6 out of 12 games, putting him ahead of second by an insane margin. He also came second in the FNCS Global LAN, putting him at $500,000 in earnings. The only 2 that are even close to contesting him for this spot are Hen and Pink, but he beats them out for now. Next up we have Austria, and for Austria we have the young goat Vico. Many people think Vico is German because he speaks German, but he's actually Austrian. He exploded onto the scene in 2022 when he made his first Grands, and a bunch of people love watching him because of his insane mechanics. Recently, he won his first event, being the Red Bull Solo LAN, as well as coming 7th in the recent FNCS Grand Finals with Pink. While he's Austria's best for now, I wouldn't be surprised to see him rising to the top of EU soon. The next country is Netherlands. The Netherlands has several talented Fortnite players, but when it comes to the best in the country, all eyes turn to Kiro. A few recent Grand Final qualifications, including 3rd in the most recent Grands, definitely cemented Kiro as the top player in the Netherlands, and one of the best up-and-coming players in all of Europe. In the heart of Europe, we have Germany, which has produced some of Fortnite's best players, but none quite match up with Janus-C. One of the game's all-time highest online earners, Janus-C is currently 3rd with almost $800,000 earned. He has 3 FNCS titles, along with many top 10 finishes. He's been one of EU's most consistent players since the beginning of competitive Fortnite, no matter the game mode. Next up is Poland, and Poland has 2 of the greatest players on Europe, Kami and Seti. Since they play with each other and have extremely similar solo placements, it's really hard to pick one as being better than the other. Do you pick Kami because his solo placements are ever so slightly better, or do you pick Seti because he IGLs the duo? I've elected to choose them both. They're both so similar that it would be a disgrace to pick one without the other. After coming first in the FNCS Invitational LAN and second in the recent Global Championship, it definitely solidifies them as the best Polish players. Serbia's best is none other than Queasy, one of Fortnite's greatest IGLs and hype players of all time. Queasy placed second in the most recent EU Grand Final, and he's also a 3-time FNCS champion. He's been placing highly in tournaments since the very beginning of Fortnite competitive with over $750,000 online earned. He also barely missed out on winning at the global stage, losing first place to Kami and Seti at Fortnite's 2022 Global Invitational LAN. If you thought Slovenia was going to be anyone other than Tayson, you were thinking wrong. Tayson has the most decorated post-World Cup career in all of Fortnite on the hardest region. He's won 5 FNCS and is one of the only players in all of Fortnite to achieve over $1 million in earnings, and amongst those, the only one to have ever gotten $1 million through online tournaments. While the GOAT debate might be up in the air, there's no doubt in my mind that Tayson is not only the online tournament GOAT, but the undisputed best player in Slovenia. Latvia is a smaller country in Europe, and the only contender for its best Fortnite player is Merstash. Yet another decorated competitor, Merstash has over $500,000 earned and has won 2 FNCS titles, including the most recent Grand Final on EU. Oftentimes, Malabuka is more known in this duo since he's the IGL and has some of the craziest solo clutches FNCS and the Cash Cups have ever seen, but Merstash is one of, if not the greatest fragger on the region, and after splitting with Malabuka to play with Tayson, he went on to win that FNCS by 1 point. Either way, with over $500,000 earned, there's no sleeping on Merstash. For Russia, we have Malabuka. If you've heard of Merstash, you must have heard of Malabuka. As one of the most iconic EU duos, they have a history of high Cash Cup and FNCS placements. Malabuka won his first Grands last week and is one of the most dominant solo Cash Cup players of all time, with 6 first place finishes and so many Victory Cup wins. Before 2022, Malabuka was known as the guy who contested Mr. Savage at Steamy Stacks, but after winning multiple solo Cash Cups in a row and dominating duos with Merstash, he's now world renowned with over 800k earned. Denmark is home to the world's greatest sniper and aimer, otherwise known as Thomas HD. Thomas HD is the most consistent Grand Finals player on EU. While he hasn't actually won one, he's lost by 1 point twice. Aside from that, he's made almost every Grand Final and placed in the top 4 10 times, more than any other player. Hopefully, we can see him win a Grand soon because he deserves it more than anyone else. But in the very least, there's no question he's not the best Danish player. Mr. Savage is Norway's best player by far. With over $500,000 earned, he's been dominating competitive for years. He's the only player in EU to qualify for every single Grand Finals other than squads 4 years ago. While he hasn't had any Grand Finals wins, he did win at DreamHack Finals with Benji and came second in Grands with Andretta and Roughsguard in trios. This recent season, however, he played with Mongrel, who hadn't played competitive in 2 years and still somehow managed to qual, which is an insane achievement for both of them. Hopefully, we continue to see him dominate the competitive scene along with his content in the future. Next up is Sweden. While you might think it's the young Swede that burst onto the scene gaining immense popularity through his content and his insane competitive placement, it's actually not Moneymaker, but Bevies. Bevies has close to 100k earned and came 6th in the recent FNCS. Before that, he had come 11th and 18th in Grands, so definitely a fearsome competitor that I'm keen to see in the upcoming Grand Finals. Moving on to our first South American country, we have Brazil. While there are a lot of Brazilians to choose from on this region with similar stats, I'm going to have to give it to King. While I don't know much about the region, the stats speak for themselves. He has just under 200k earned on Brazil, and after an insane comeback from 27th day 1, he came 4th in the recent Grand Finals. Looking at his history, he's been dominating the Brazilian leaderboards for years now, and with FaZe King on EU now, he's definitely the only king of Brazil. Argentina is the other major South American country that plays on the Brazil region, and the best player from Argentina is named Fishy. While he didn't do so well in the recent Grand Finals, he was the winner of the Last Chance Major, punching him a ticket to the LAN, and he also came second in the last 2 solo FNCS Grand Finals, as well as 5 separate top 10s in Grands. Now moving on to Asia, the main country that competes is Japan. Japan has many insane players like Zagu, but the player I chose to be the best on the region and in the country is Peppo. Pipo or Peppo, sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, is the 3 times FNCS champion and Zagu's duo. He was the best placing small region player at Invitational last year and has over $100,000 earned. He came 11th in the recent Grand Finals, but I see him as one of the duos that will definitely qualify and hopefully do well on the world stage in the next major LAN. Australia is the biggest country and basically the only country that competes on Oceania servers. While they have a history of underperforming at LAN, they do have some underrated GOATs. I'm going to have to give the title of the best OCE player to Alex. As I'm making this video, First has just been banned for cheating, giving Alex his 3rd FNCS title. He has the best placement at LAN of any Oceania player, coming 6th in the upper bracket in the recent LAN, and while he still has a lot to prove internationally, he still has 100k earned with over 50 tournament wins, which solidifies his spot as the best OCE player. Finally, moving on to the last region, Middle East, first country we have is Bahrain. Bahrain is home to a couple of Middle Eastern GOATs, but the player I picked for the best in the country is 7man. He has $60,000 in earnings and just came first with CalGamer in the recent FNCS Grand Finals. This isn't the first time he's won an FNCS, however. Along with another insane 70 tournament session wins, Middle East may not have a lot of competition, but from Bahrain, there's nobody more dominant. Finally, the last country we have is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's best and most dominant player is none other than 7man's duo, CalGamer. He started his career on NA West and moved to Saudi Arabia in 2021. Since then, he's been on a tear in Middle East, racking up $66,000 in earnings and winning the last 3 consecutive FNCS championships. No one does it like CalGamer in Saudi Arabia. That wraps up this video. Thanks for watching. The long outros. Bye.